So I'm supposed to follow Clayton and Peggy, that's not fair. I noticed one thing through their speeches and their campaigns that we share a lot of common themes. Now, I won't ask you to raise your hands who don't know me because that'll be really embarrassing. So I will go right through that little step. My name is Henry Mail, and we've been here 21 years. I'm not a Democrat. I'm sorry to let you down, but I'm not a Republican either. It is my goal to be what I think I am, which is truly independent. I will listen to everybody, and I will respect anybody with differing opinions as long as they're offered up in a positive and congenial way. And unfortunately, we don't get that a lot. So, why am I running? Well, let's face it, the election a couple of years ago was one of the most ugliest things I've ever seen. It was horrible. Fountain Hills garnered national news for how ugly the campaign was. We're supposed to be partisan free. Although I'm independent, so I qualified that. We can check that part off. So, to me, this picture personifies what active politics should be all about. In there, you see Ronald Reagan, Howard Baker, and Tip O'Neill and their wives. Now, ironically, Howard Baker's on the left and Tip O'Neill's on the right. But the six of them were sitting in the Ford's Theater watching a comic. Michael Davis, a funny juggler, do his thing. And throughout the entire evening, they laughed. When a Republican joke was made, Tip pointed to the guys. When a Democratic joke was made, they pointed to Tip. They had a good time. Tip O'Neill said after Reagan stepped down from the office that he was the worst president ever. Yet the two of them would sit down and have drinks and talk things. And that's what it's supposed to be. If we disagree, okay. My wife and I have canceled our votes in virtually every political election up to the last political election. Well, we've been married 33 years, and if she lets me, we'll go on longer. I'm hoping. Anyway, so, where the commonality that we've come into is what I feel is that we've heard tonight, is we share a common goal, I think. And that is that we want Fountain Hills to be as good as it possibly can, as inviting as it can, as successful as it can, as viable as we can. And to do that, I think we need to foster the healthy growth of our town. I don't think we need to scale things back and keep people away. It's counterproductive. We need, obviously, to support and encourage business development. As already mentioned, our economic background, our economic future depends on sales tax, because that's where we get our funds. So we need more businesses. We need to encourage them and not discourage them. And most of all, one of the things that really pushed me to this was we need respectful, civil, and open communication. I've seen the divisive talks. I've seen the horrible statements made by certain people. The denigration of certain segments or segments of town. And it's horrible. Frankly, it's disgusting. I mean, let's face it, it's a rotten thing to do, right? What we need to do is find reasonable economic solutions to attend to the needs of the community. We all want nice roads. Well, the estimate was between $40 and $60 million. Trust me, when I pull my wallet out, there's nothing in it. And the only way we're going to afford that outside of things that people don't want is to help increase our economic growth. And to do that, not only do we need more businesses, but we need more families. We need more people living here. And it's not a chicken and egg thing to me. To me, they work together. And I think that's the plan, and I think that's the focus. We need to look forward, not backwards. We don't need to live in 1860 anymore. Slide up Tuesday night. I thought maybe we might have to come down, but we're still allowed to say diversity in this town. We're still allowed to work for diversity in this town. We're still here to recognize the different values everybody brings. I can tell you as a businessman, many times, that I have sat there and we need a new candidate. What do we need? And we discovered there's a certain person we need. be a person of color to balance the team. It could be a woman instead of a man. It could be a whole bunch of things. Someone can speak Spanish fluently. Where we work, we have an influx of Chinese people. And the chip factory. It'd be handy if we had that. So it's not just pure meritocracy, that they try to put a nice flavor on it. The truth of this is you've got to value things. Sometimes something garbage is more valuable than something else. So to stop diversity, to me, is just stopping growth. And what basically would happen the other night, what was trying to happen, to me, is white supremacist wolf in a sheep's clothing. Moving on. You're looking at a picture and you're saying, what the hell is that doing there? Why is there a picture of the Pope? Well, there's really not a picture of the Pope. The man on the black on the left is my father. My dad was an Episcopal priest, and he worked very hard for ecumenism. And he represented the national church in multiple events. In fact, he was sent to Rome a couple times. The last time, he was also flown by the Pope to South Carolina one time. But the last time he stayed within the Vatican walls for 2 weeks. Why is it up there? What's this have to do with this election? Well, bear with me a moment. The night my dad got the invitation to stay there, and me, I guess, upon it, my mom went, Henry, I've always wanted to go to Rome. And I looked at each other and said, well, we can afford it. We're retired. We actually have disposable income. Why don't you go? And she says, well, where am I going to stay? I can't stay with you in the Vatican. They're not going to let that happen. I don't want to go by myself. They said, well, ask our neighbor, Margaret Weller. See if she can't go. Maybe she can afford it. And that's exactly what happened. So my dad sails off for Rome. And he's there 4, 5, 6 days, whatever. And my mom and her friend come in, late night flight, and they go to a hotel that they thought they were staying at to find out, no, they've been moved to a different hotel because they overbooked. This was before cell phones. So my mother wakes up the next morning, knowing that her husband doesn't know where she is. She proceeds to call the Vatican. Hi, I'd like to speak to a visiting priest in the United States. His name is Henry Mayle. I'm sorry, we don't have anybody here by that name. No priest by the name of Mayle. No, check your list. Last name is M-A-L-E, first name Henry. He's a priest from the United States or a little town in Pennsylvania. Sorry, no priest by that name. Well, no, he's there. Well, how do you know that man? Well, he's my husband. Very funny, man. Thank you for calling the Vatican. My father, on the other hand, tried calling the hotel and couldn't get through it. So here they are in the city, and they can't find each other. And I'm not exaggerating. There's no exaggeration in the story. The next day, they literally bumped into each other across the street from the basilica. Henry leans in, Henry, they hug. They run off to a bistro or a cafe and talk and get reunited. And my father pulls out 2 passes and says, here, this is for an audience with the Pope tomorrow. Look for me, I'll be up front. And it'll get you behind stage, backstage, private reception. Okay, so my mom's there. The next day, big amphitheater. The first 4 or 5 rows are all these priests dressed with their black cassocks, all facing the bottom. And my mom's with a camera scanning every head. First row, second row, third row, fourth. She can't find him. We can make my father out of the crowd. His ears, sorry, that would tumble water in the back. Anyway, we could pick him out. My mom spends the hour and a half, whatever the event was, and never found him. And they reached backstage for the private reception, and my father's excited. Ains, my mom's nickname. Ains, did you see me? Did you see me? No, Henry. Where were you? I spent an hour and a half, front row, second row. I couldn't find you. Where were you? Crestfallen, my father says I was seated next to the Pope. I was his guest of honor. True story. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, there's a lesson to be learned. One, the obvious one, never presume or assume. My mom never thought her husband would be sitting next to the Pope. But the real reason to bring it up is that in our lives, special opportunities come by so infrequently. And when they do come, we got to grab them. We have to go for them. We got this great picture of my father and the Pope. We could have had one of them sitting beside each other. I truly believe that this election for me is my great opportunity to do something. But more importantly, I really hope and pray that you all think it's our opportunity to do something. My name is Henry Mayo. I'm running for town council. I need your help. I need your support. I need your vote. Oh boy, do I need your cash. And I thank you very much for listening and for your attention. Thank you so much.